Mr. Speaker,
Order.
Resumption of the Committee of Supply to consider the estimates for the financial year 1st April 2018 to 31st March 2019.
Chairman, Head K, Ministry of Education, Ms. Denise Phua.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to move that the total sum to be allocated for Head K of the estimates be reduced by $100. So I want to first thank the educators, families, and students who have given me inputs on what they think are important to the future of education in Singapore. On changes gone right. The most significant move that MOE has made in recent years is its bold decision to rope in Skills Future and adopt developing the capabilities of adult learners under its belt. Institutions of higher learning, IHLs, are now chartered to embark on aggressive continuing education and skills training for the adult workforce. The messaging and measures by the two education ministers on skills mastery, applied learning, and broader school and IHL admission criteria are necessary in a landscape that has overindulged in the academic paper chase. However, sir, the relentless changes to the education and employment landscapes remain. Technology and product and service life cycles and shelf lives get shorter. Anything that can be repeated and learned by machines will be replaced by machines. Futurists such as Ray Kurzweil predict that soon a computer that costs US $1,000 will possess the cognitive capability of a human being by 2029. On key education trends, the writing is on the wall. Just as in business, rapid changes are sweeping through the education landscape. Google key education trends, and you will find at least 90% of the search results reflect key trends in the realm of technology: virtual reality, augmented reality, even mixed reality, cloud technology, learning analytics, coding, and the Internet of Things. Other trends include the move from pedagogy, child-focused teaching approaches, to andragogy, study of teaching adults, to heutagogy, self-directed learning, and from STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, to STEAM, science, technology, engineering, math, and arts, to develop critical thinking and more creative approaches to problem solving. I would like to seek the Minister's responses to my following questions. How has MOE kept pace with these new education trends that are the outcome of rapid technological and economic disruptions? How has the work of the Council for Future Economy and Industry Transformation Maps affect the shape of education for students and educators? The 21st century competency model drawn up by MOE has been developed some time ago, more than a decade. When was the last time this has been reviewed? And how do the prevailing work by the Future Economy Council and Smart Nation change the curriculum creation, development, and assessment in schools and IHLs? What is the state of the Skills Future movement, and what else can be done to urge Singaporeans to take even greater ownership and action to be ready for further disruptions in the labour market? As all of the IHLs aggressively embark on CET, directed by MOE, the potential overlapping and unnecessary competition are bound to emerge. How will MOE prevent this and instead enhance the synergy that can arise? Would government even consider renaming the MOE as the Ministry for Lifelong Learning to put the emphasis on lifelong and self-directed learning and remove barriers to learning for all citizens? On the role of educators in the future world, the pervasiveness of mobile devices such as smartphones, smartwatches, and tablets has already overtaken desktop browsing. M-learning instead of e-learning enables learners to access content even more freely. Educators will need the technical and pedagogical support to integrate M-learning in their curricula. As a consultant told me, the role of educators is to think carefully now about the things that they typically do. Can Minister update this House on how aware and prepared our educators in their changing role in this new world of education? What proportion of them are still in the mode of repeating lectures or rehearsing for high-stake exams? How have we equipped our educators to take on the role of designers of quality learning experiences, curators of content available online, creators of content, and coaches of their students in matters of life? Should there be an industry transformation map as well for the educators to build the capability and deep skills of educators to keep pace with the needs of 21st century learners? How do educators of the future address skills deficits in the workforce? And if that's getting increasingly unpredictable, how do we prepare the students to acquire more learning agility to face the future? On equal access to opportunities for all students. Much has been spoken at last week's budget debate on inequality and or inequity among citizens from low-income households versus others who are more affluent. While it is true that it is hard to ensure equality in life outcomes, it is certainly possible for government to do even more to ensure equal access to opportunities in learning and exposures that will further one's future readiness. The money and meals provided in the EduSafe and Meals program in Budget 2018 are appreciated, but we need to also update and articulate the changing nature of the gaps in today's setting. Holiday and or enrichment programs of children from more affluent backgrounds, for instance, have now moved from speech, drama, and music lessons to the 21st century's coding, robotics, 3D printing boot camps, and the like. A concern that has been raised globally is that of digital equity. As mobile devices become the gateways to learning, and BYOD, or Bring Your Own Device programs, allow students to use their own devices in a classroom, there must be found a way by which learners from all socioeconomic backgrounds have access to learning devices in schools up to IHLs. Can MOE please provide an update on what has been done in this aspect of digital equity? On existing hot button issues such as overemphasis on high-stake exams and tuition. And what of the existing hot buttons of overemphasis on high-stake exams and tuition syndrome? It is not uncommon to tease parents whose children are taking the PSLE that they themselves are also taking the PSLE. It is not uncommon to still hear parents who are very highly anxious and highly strung as they report that their children are taking the GCEs. The tuition industry is still a booming industry because doing well in high-stake exams is still the ultimate aim of many parents and teachers of especially primary school, secondary school education. Teachers also have learned to teach to test. I know of a young girl who's talented in singing and speech and drama, but who is now taking an electrical engineering course in the ITE. She achieved a score of 14 in her NA exams with 2 A's and 4 B's, but only qualified for the DPP, which does not have any options in performing or creative arts in the ITE or the Poly. She will spend her next 2 years in an engineering course in the hope that she can obtain a higher NITEC cert so that she can apply then for LaSalle or NAFA. She would have qualified, her mom says, if she had done better in academics. Her mother wrote to me, Ms. Phua, I'm sharing this in the hope that it serves as an opportunity to point our education system to areas where we can do differently to better cater to a wider spectrum of needs. As the time and tide has changed, she said, although MOE has acknowledged Howard Gardner's work on multiple intelligences, our school system still leans towards our traditional definition of academic excellence. Now, if we have improved in dealing with these hot buttons, why do many parents, students still fret incessantly over them? Could it be that it is insufficient to simply tweak the system through changes such as PSLE banding instead of T-scores, by allowing subject combinations instead of removing the labels of Express, NA, and NT, and special schools? Are we merely rearranging the chairs on the deck and not making deep enough changes? In this age of disruptions, do we dare proactively disrupt our current education system by slaying some of the sacred cows that we inherited from the proverbial third industrial revolution when we are already in the fourth? One sacred cow is, of course, the PSLE, a practice we have inherited for decades. I have many times in this House shared on how we need to remove this structural thorn in the flesh of the system. There are highly respected education systems globally which do not sort students at the age of 12. I recall what a very dedicated MOE mainstream educator told me, and I quote, Ms. Phua, she said, I know there are lots of things to consider before we can abolish PSLE, but the fact of the matter is, if you ask a teacher if he or she would teach a class differently if there is no PSLE, she said, I'm quite sure the answer is a yes. There is just not enough time and room to develop the skills they need to survive in the future world. Skills like creativity, flexibility, 21st century competencies that MOE has been advocating. We need more time, she said, to look into non-examinable subjects such as inquiry, discovery, development of strengths in our students. Last year at the COS, I spoke about Alibaba founder Jack Ma and his partners' intent to start the Yungu School, a 15-year true train system up to high school. I don't believe my reference was acknowledged or addressed. I have been stalking the online media of Yungu School, and it's been inspiring so far, with a very strong values base and a good balance in IT, other STEAM subjects. I have the great confidence that Singapore can design even more superior localized model. Do we dare pilot a true train school of the future, and if good enough, scale it? Past designers of the Singapore education system have often prided themselves in taking an evolutionary instead of a revolutionary approach. But in a time such as this, we must have the dare to go beyond tweaking our school system, or we'll end up taking one step forward and 2 steps backward in preparing an education model that befits the future. Thank you.